It's been open 96 years. It was set up by magicians for magicians to be involved with the Western mystery tradition. So we're magical, we're practical, we're not Eastern and mystical particularly. We don't have space for the vast volumes of books that are produced on the esoteric, and so there's the kind of line in the sand that we're practical Western magical stuff here. Then our founder knew absolutely everybody, all the famous names, all the famous authors. Aleister Crowley was one of our customers, Tolkien, Dion Fortune, W.B. Yeats, Austin Spare, and everybody since have been customers of ours. After the war, but before it was legal, our founder allowed witches to meet in our basement downstairs, and that coven was the first coven of Gerald Gardner, who's considered to be the grandfather of modern day witchcraft. So we now have that as the Gerald Gardner room, and we're very proud of our history, but we're also very, very proud of our present, and we look forward to our future just as much. It's a strange survival in the West End of London, really, that a shop dealing with such weird subjects. But we're tiny, but we're world famous, and we have a good principled reputation, and we're very proud of that. Magic is the science and art of causing change to occur in conformity with will. That's the definition given by Aleister Crowley, and even people who don't like him do accept that that is it. And magic like that should be repeatable, which is why it's a science. If I do this, this, this and this, and the astrological timing is right, and I'm wearing the right colours that have been ascribed to the particular deity, then I'm doing it at the right time of the moon, and so on. It's a formula, and it should be repeatable. He was born in 1875, and he was incredibly clever. Nowadays we would understand that he was on the autistic spectrum somewhere, and he was useless in groups, absolutely hopeless. He just wanted to dominate. He wasn't going to be taught anything by anybody, but his writings appealed to the intellect, unlike anybody else's. He then had a necessarily difficult life in lots of ways. He inherited some significant amount of money, and he spent it on financing a trip to the Himalayas to climb the highest mountain in the world that was accessible at the time, because Mount Everest is a holy mountain and you couldn't climb it back in the day. And so his fortune disappeared, but he'd had a hell of a life on the way to having no money. He wrote extensively, he wrote for 350 things. He always was very involved with magic. He never left that. He had a bumpy emotional life, domestic life. He had an involvement with drugs. He was bisexual, but he was honest and open about it. And if you think now that the lives that lots of people have had, they've had sex before marriage, they've tried a few drugs, they've travelled the world. Back in his day, people didn't do that. But then you add in things like, have you devoted yourself to magic? Have you experienced it? Have you worked with people in the Far East to find out their thousands of year old techniques and things? And the tick boxes get fewer and fewer and fewer of what we actually do. He was like a Guinness Book of Records in what he actually attempted and achieved in his lifetime. Various cultures believe in various ways of being after death, and some people just believe you stop. That's it. It's like throwing away a pair of shoes. Your body's over, and that's it. Other people say a soul is an intangible thing, but somehow your weight changes between being alive and being dead. I can't remember what the figure is, but there's certainly an amount that you just get lighter by when you do die. And where you go, what you do when you come back, who knows? But I like the idea that we do come back. But I do believe in lots of heavens on earth as well. You know, I do believe there are blissful states that we can get into, and we can just have a perfect afternoon with a friend, you know, just being greeted by your dog. There are ways and ways of heaven. I don't think we should delay these things. If this is the life we are living now, and so we should savour every moment, we should make the most of every moment. We shouldn't be falsely happy and abundant about things, because that's just ridiculous. You have to crash and burn. But you should see the pleasure in things. You should enjoy to laugh. And say little bits of heaven are easily accessed. It's like trying to describe the wind, really, isn't it? Everybody knows the wind exists, but nobody's ever seen it. And I think that that's a bit like God. But why can't we be like Nijinsky said and be gods in bodies? I do believe in angels, and angels actually quite interest me because they have been these deeply sacred beings for thousands of years, and now you get angels called Eric, you get angels called Sid, you've got angels have just been either devalued by everybody having angel work going on, or the angels have actually come down to support the earth in its emotional need currently, and I don't know which is true. They've just made, I think a lot of them have made themselves more accessible than they've ever been. The Watchers, I can't be bothered with Watchers, you know, they're probably there, they may be there, they don't bump into my life much, I'm not bothered by them. Ignore them, take no notice until you need to. Yeah. I don't like the idea that there are things hovering over us. Life is complex enough without looking for the dark side all the damn time. You know, I find that, again, it's fashion. It's just a fashion in magic currently.